Hey everyone, I am back with my third Let's Try video today, in which I find tutorials on YouTube and then film myself trying them, or in this case receive recommendations of tutorials in my inbox from you guys and then pick the ones that I think I can do and then go ahead and try them. So thank you again to everyone who messaged me with recommendations. Some of you guys are extremely ambitious, but I'm going to try to get through as many of these as I can in the next few weeks and probably throughout the summer as well, because they are so much fun. So for this video, my very first one that was recommended to me, I am trying volume painting. And a brief summary of volume painting for anyone who's unfamiliar, based on my understanding, is rather than doing the traditional base coat layers, maybe a wash and then a highlight, for this method, you put down your base coat, you skip all the way up to your highlight, and then you bridge the gap in between by making a custom glaze based on the colors you chose for your base coat and your highlight using water or some other medium. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot. I am joined today by Gorat the Enforcer from the Crimson Court, and the very first step in this process was to prime him a shiny black so that I could easily identify the high parts and help me as I'm placing those highlights. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that and then let him dry for a few hours, and then I will be right back. It's been a few hours. This guy's nice and dry now. I don't normally prime things in black, so already it's just kind of like, okay, this is different, but different is good. The next thing he says is that you have to take a picture of your mini under a light source to get the golden angle. So you pick the angle at which your miniature looks the most dynamic, I guess. You hold it under the light source and then you take a picture of it so that you can reference the picture when you're doing your shading. And this is my old phone. What was my password? The point of this is so that if you're like me and you have difficulty identifying where exactly the high points are, what part do you highlight, what part do you not, this gives you a definitive, this is where the light hits, this is where you need to highlight. So I'm just going to hold it under my light source and take the picture. Okay. In the video, he seemed to do it at from an upward down angle. So I'm going to try to do that too, actually. For this mini, he doesn't, let's see here if I can show you. He's very straightforward. He's just kind of standing in this pose. The golden angle that I just chose was him standing slightly like this because his head is slightly turned, and I thought I would pick out all of these parts. So I have my picture for reference. I'm gonna go ahead and base coat all of the armor, my base coat color, and I'm going for a purple. So I have Nagaroth Night as the base coat color, and then I'm gonna be going in with this lilac color as the highlight. But first I'll just go ahead and base coat and then we will reconvene. Okay, so I have base coated him in the super dark purple, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Again, this is the easy step, the familiar step. The next thing he says to do is to get your highlight color, which for me is this purple, and I am going to refer to the picture that I took, and I am going to place this highlight color on all of the high parts. So I'm just going to keep looking at this, put it right here, and anywhere that the light is hitting it, I am putting the highlight color. And it's going to look very drastic at first. When I was watching this and he was doing this, I was like, oh god, that's so drastic. But then the next step after this is to make a glaze and blend it. So, okay. I see that I'm going to try to be as clean about this as possible. You can do this. So I see that the tip of his shoulder, and you can even still see the light hitting it. It's not rocket science. It's just for people like me who are still building up confidence as to where to put highlights. Okay, so I see that there's like a crisp spot right there, right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep doing this in reference to my picture. Already I'm realizing, because of the way that this guy is standing, I think what I might want to do is paint him as though he had two light sources, because all of this side of him is going to be getting all of this highlight love, you know, and then this side's just going to look flat. So I might actually pick two golden angles. I'm going to finish the first one, and then I am going to see how I'm feeling about doing the other side without a picture reference, because obviously I only took the picture of this one side. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this step. He looks pretty crazy at this point, but I'm actually feeling pretty confident right now. I'll finish this, probably do the other side as well, and then I will be back. Okay, everybody, we are back, and this is what we've got. I know at this stage he's not supposed to look super cool yet, so that's okay. I did go ahead and do a second coat of the highlight color, just to make sure that it wasn't streaky and that I had a good level of coverage with it. So yeah, so we have this side I did without the reference photo, this side I did with the reference photo. It honestly was fine. I'm like tripped up as to why that was so confusing for me before trying this, but okay. The next step is to make a glaze combining the highlight color and the base coat color with a lot of water. So I have my very tidy wet palette here that I clearly change out and clean every day. So I'm gonna take 50-50 mix here and add a buttload of water. Now, oh shoot, sorry, I bumped you guys. Are you okay? Okay. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention to this part of the video or if he didn't mention it. He very well could have mentioned it and I just didn't catch it. But I don't actually know how much water I'm supposed to add to make it a glaze. So I'm just gonna stop here and then see if I need to add more. Oh, okay, I think I have too much on my brush. Let me just, this is what I do, by the way. If I'm using my brush to mix, which I try not to, but sometimes I just do it, then I'll wipe everything out of it and then come back in with the mixture so my brush isn't flooded with what I was just mixing. Okay, let's try it. So you take that and you just gently bridge the gaps. I think I'm using too much paint. The glaze is supposed to take a lot of layers to blend. So I'm just gonna do one little coat along each line, each sharp line, all the way down, and then start again at the top and do it again. Slow and steady. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead, this is pretty self-explanatory at this point. I am gonna go ahead and keep blurring these lines on this side, and then I'll show you what we're working with before I move to the next side. Okay, quick check-in because it's starting to get exciting now. This is the side I've done 2 layers of glazing on, and then this is the side I haven't done any. So you can just clearly see stark contrast, stark lines, and then it's starting to blend. I'm gonna go ahead and do this to this side, and then I'm going to return back and do further blending on this side. The next step after that is to add black to your base coat color. So I would be adding black to Nagaroth Night and going into the deeper areas to bring the contrast out even more. And then if I so desire, I could also add white to this lilac color and do a thinner highlight as well as a thinner glaze within my highlight. I think I'm gonna go like balls to the walls and just take this to the max. So let me go ahead and finish this side, clean it up a little bit, and then we will move on to darkening the dark parts and lightening the light parts. So while doing this, I realized something pertinent, and that is that when I'm blending, it's a lot more difficult. At first, what I was doing was going like this, like back and forth with the glaze, and I thought, oh, because I'm trying to bridge the gap between the two colors, like that makes the most sense. No, it's a lot smoother if you go up and down, as he was doing in the video. So doing it, I don't know if I'm in focus, hold on, there we go. Doing it up and down like this, even though you'd think doing it the other way, or I would think doing it the other way would make a creamier blend, this is actually a lot smoother. So up and down, not side to side, and I'm getting there, I'm working it. Look at this, look at this. Look at these sexy blends. I'm gonna go along this side and do the same thing, and then we're gonna come right back. Okay, next I am going to take an even smaller brush and take just my highlight color and just do a super thin line in the center. I think in some places my bad. On some places I kind of lost the high part of the color, so I'm just taking this and just doing a super narrow line in the center, and then I will be buffing this out with another glaze after that. I just want to restore a little bit of the highlight color before we move on to darkening the dark parts. Oh God, that line was way too thick. I'm making more work for myself, guys. He did this like 4 times where he went in and brought the high parts up again. But I honestly don't think I have the patience for that. I think this is gonna be the only time I bring these high parts up, because I want this to be something that I actually return to and do again. And as of right now, I'm still having fun, but if I were to do this a bunch more times again and again and again, probably not so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the other side, and then I'm gonna do one more glaze over, smooth it out, and I'll be back. Okay, I did that. It's coming along okay. He's looking good. The next part, I'm kind of iffy about. Not iffy about, you know, how much sense it makes in the video, but just iffy about if I'm gonna do it properly. So I'm taking black with my base coat color, which is Nagaroth Night. So I'm gonna take some of this and take some black. I think that's too much black. Crap, black is really strong. Okay, that's looking better. Somewhere in between. And I am going to add a ton of water to this to make a glaze, and I am going to be glazing this into the recesses. So again, I'm gonna add like 2 brushfuls of water. I'm not quite sure if that's the right amount, but that seemed to work last time. Now I am wiping the excess out of my brush and then getting some of my mixture, and I will be glazing this into the deep parts. So here along his side, you can see I kind of got the purple all over. So I'm just gonna, oh wait, I'm supposed to be going up and down. It just feels naturally like you should be going back and forth to make it blend, but it just looks bad. So I am just gonna be putting this in, and then he says you can gradually keep adding more black. to make this darker and darker and darker and darker. I think I'm gonna stop after this glaze. Like once I get this part smooth to where I'm happy with it, I think I am going to move on to the final step. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going through and doing this. I think I have too much on my brush still because it's starting to pool up, which is not what we want. I need to smooth these transitions a little bit more and make sure I'm being thorough and getting all of the recessed areas. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is where I stopped. You know, I'm okay, I'm happy. It's not the absolute smoothest, but I found I got to a point where the more I try to fix it, the worse it started to look. So I'm just gonna retreat and I'm gonna move on to the next step. He says the next thing we do is unify the paint job by using one of our lightest colors and edge highlighting everything. And if you've seen my last video, you know that this is not something I enjoy doing. And I'm scared to ruin this. Like imagine if I were to mess up one of these edges, how would I even fix that? Because it's taken so much to get here. But I'm just gonna try. I'm probably not gonna do a whole lot of this on camera because I have to sit kind of at a weird angle to stay in frame. Oh God, okay. Oh, okay, I did it. You see that? You see it? I added a little bit of white to my first original base coat color just to make it a little bit brighter. I'm trying to stay within the realm of the previous highlight that I did to keep the blends looking good. Okay, wow, this is making this look so much better. I'm trying to use the side of my brush, not the tip, so that it looks cleaner, but sometimes it's hard to get the right angle, you know? This is tough. This is tough. Okay, guys, I did it. I made it through. Just like in my last video, that is not my favorite thing to do, but it's done now. And that was the last step. So this is the final product. And I will say there are a couple of places that I see where I'm like, oh, that line could be a little tidier. It doesn't look as crisp as I would like. But overall, I'm so happy with the results. Like really so happy. Especially because this is my first time trying volume painting and only my second time painting armor in my life. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Part of me wants to do some kind of like all over glaze with a contrast paint, but I don't have a purple contrast paint and I don't trust myself to mix one up. So I know that would take away from the highlight, but I feel like some of these areas where it's just not as smooth as I really want it to be, I don't know. I'm gonna go back and forth on it, and I am actually gonna go ahead and finish the rest of him, and then I will show you what he looks like when he's all done. All right, everybody, here he is. So as I was finishing him, when I was going into this, I thought that I was just going to be doing the volume painting for just his armor. And then as I went through and finished him, I realized I wanted to do it for everything. So I did. I did it for his little sash thing here he has on his waist. I did it for his skin and also his cape. So yeah, I went ahead and did that, and I think it actually saved time in the long run because when I was doing it for his armor and just getting used to the concept, I definitely thought, oh, this takes so much longer than doing a base coat, a wash, some layers, and a highlight. But actually, once you get the hang of the glazing, it's actually a lot quicker, and it gets you to that high contrast point easier than layering up, in my opinion. So I'm definitely going to be implementing this more and more. I really like the depth of his skin, and that's always been something I struggle with, is getting the deep parts of whatever I'm painting to be deep enough. I always feel like I can never achieve that, so this method definitely helped. Let me know what you guys think. I ended up, I think, over blending the armor. I went back like 100 times after the last video that you guys saw. As you can see, it looks probably a little bit different than in the last frame, and that's just because I went through and blended and then did some more highlights and then blended again, and the whole process took a ridiculous amount of time. But I think that was just because I was overthinking it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next week.